Well, hello everyone! Ogre27 Kane here today, and I want to do a review of Star Renegades for the Nintendo Switch. Let's do a little bit of an overview and figure out what this game is all about. Well, this is a top-down, turn-based roguelike RPG. It has pixelated graphics, but they're done extremely well. The game also has fantastic music, and it was released on November 19th, 2020. Today we're reviewing the physical version, as I highly recommend picking this game up. It is a hidden gem, and all the elements fit fairly well. It takes about 4 hours to get through on any one playthrough, but I never last that long. You can save at any point in time, and the game allows you a flexible system of upgrading your characters as well as you play. So let's start out with the first category, the gameplay. Well, being a roguelike, you would think the gameplay to be overly repetitive and very similar on each playthrough. Because the game has so many multiple different systems going on, such as a nemesis system with the enemies, and a random generation system that occurs in each world, no two playthroughs will ever be the same. On top of that, the gameplay also funnels very well between the world and the battle system, and the battle system is the majority, the meat of the gameplay. The story does its job very much like Hades and Dead Cells to fill itself in when you come to important points, either in completing an area or world, or upon death. We gotta veer off on a little side tangent because this music in this cantina totally reminds me of Star Wars, and I have to show this off. Well played, Massive Damage. I absolutely love that. Let's talk about another gameplay feature that I really love. You get a currency when you finish beating a playthrough or die, but that currency isn't necessarily everything. Yes, it does allow you to unlock new characters and some new weapons and whatnot, but the real important part is the character relationships that develop in the game. While you come to a campsite, you have the options to use these certain cards that you gain through battles, and it develops a relationship which it strengthens the bonds of the characters, and then they themselves become more powerful in a group, so it encourages you to use that group over and over. So let's move on now to the story. Well, the story in this is fairly basic. It sees a group of cyborgs that are jumping from dimension to dimension, trying to conquer everybody and everything they can find. Your group finds out about this and essentially figures out how to trigger and jump ahead of these cyborgs. Your goal and your mission is to use this power to stop the cyborgs eventually, one at a time. Now, obviously, this doesn't happen and you die over and over and over, so your group keeps sending messages forward trying to get further and further ahead. Eventually, you will stop them, and then the further dimensions will be safe. There's a side story where your main character here, Win Syphax, is in search of her mother, essentially, and the intro kind of discloses a little bit of that. But it's not really that important, and yes, you'll want to see it, but at the end of the day, the true goal is about stopping these cyborgs. So the other thing I need to mention about the story is how through use of the relationship system, you can develop certain attributes through bonds with characters, and then you can get those characters married and have children which then take on those attributes. It allows you to further customize and individualize your characters to make that final push, that final run. I love this because it allows you multiple avenues of upgrading your character and allows you to do this through the most efficient means to what you find fun in the game. So let's move on now to the combat. Well, the combat is honestly the meat and potatoes of this game. 99.9% of everything you're going to be doing, aside from a little bit of map management and menu management, is going to be in the combat. This game has a break system, which is built around you utilizing your abilities and your maneuvers to break the enemy or dislodge them from combat. If you try to stand your ground against any single enemy in this game, they will shred you. This game is not dependent on you being able to tank hits. Yes, there are characters that are tanks, but even they are paper tigers, essentially. The game really is designed around you using the most efficient means to get rid of your enemy before he can even touch you. Now, that being said, there are a ton of different characters and a ton of different strategies you can employ. As you level up your characters, they will gain new abilities too, which allow for even more strategy. At first, you may be using one party on a playthrough, which really fits the means in which you're trying to survive. Then you'll figure out halfway through that you need to completely shake that party up and throw in some different members. Certain characters have certain abilities which allow you an upper hand in the battle if you do this correctly. Going into a battle unprepared is not a very wise choice. This game will not be very fair to you. If you employ these strategies though correctly and you move your characters around and you learn which characters have their attributes which really are the strengths in those areas, you'll figure out how to get through one at a time. The game really does want you to use all of the characters and all of their abilities. I absolutely love this because it makes the battle system more engaging as you get through, and it doesn't punish you at the beginning. It starts off slow. So let's move on to controls and audio now. So we're going to start off with the audio, and I think the audio in this game is absolutely fantastic. It has a bit of a techno soundtrack, but all of the sound effects work extremely well for what they're trying to do. The game is not voice acted though, so it does require you to do some reading. Not really a bummer to me, but that may turn some people off. Let's show a little sample of it now and tell me what you think. Pretty top-notch if you ask me. I love the inclusion of the music and the sound effects together as they almost coalesce perfectly and work in harmony. Let's talk about the controls a little bit. The controls in this game are what you'd expect from a turn-based RPG. There's really not much else that they can change with this. You have a confirm button and your directions move around to navigate the menus. There is no timing mechanics and there's nothing crazy like that going on. It's all based around the strategy you want to employ. So I have no complaints here. Let's move on now and talk about the graphics and animations. Let me start off by saying I absolutely love the graphics and the animation quality of this game. I love the pixel art style and I think everything works fantastically. That being said, the performance of this game is where things kind of fall apart. As you've been able to see throughout this video and through any playthrough, there's a bit of a frame rate issue going on. Being a turn-based RPG, this didn't bother me, it didn't affect my gameplay, but it is noticeable if you're sensitive to frame rate. This game stutters and jitters all over the place. On top of that, there was a few performance issues in the area of crashing. The game did want to have a tendency to crash if I played it or had it on standby for more than 4 hours. I don't know if this is a memory leak or something else going on, but it wasn't really an issue if I saved and quit out. Having a very generous save system and being able to save and quit out at any point didn't become an issue, but it did make something aware in my head that I needed to do this from time to time. All these things being said though, the graphics to me, in my opinion, are beautiful and I love the art style. I love the aesthetic as well and I love the time period and what they're going for. I'm a huge sci-fi fanatic and I'm an addict for this kind of stuff. So let's move on finally to the conclusion now. Well, in conclusion, this is another one-off physical hidden gem. I think I picked this game up for about 25 or 30 bucks on eBay and I think it's still pretty cheap today. I don't really think there was a high print run of it, so it probably will be expensive. If you love roguelikes, turn-based RPGs, or anything in between, I highly recommend this game. It's a great palate cleanser as well when you need to go between RPGs and you're trying to just keep the mechanics there, but you don't need to be drowned out with too much dialogue and story. The game has a fantastic art style, and the game has a great story of its own, fed to you in piecemeal bits, almost like Hades. These aspects of it allow it to be played at small playthroughs in intervals of an hour to 4 hours at a time, and you can quit on it for 6 months and come back. All these elements combined make for a fantastic playthrough, and I highly recommend this game. Well, this is a great game, and I hope you check it out. That's going to do it for today's review, folks. Thank you for watching today's video. It was a blast to make. I upload every single Monday. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, and have a great rest of your day. This is Ogre 27 Kane, Signing out.